I think a lot of people have heard recently, and I think a lot of the recent dip we had this last week was due to China FUD. So China declares all cryptocurrency transactions illegal. So what's funny about this is I have heard China banning Bitcoin since 2013. Literally the exact same headline, the exact same story. It's fucking bullshit. China has banned Bitcoin dozens of times, and each time they ban it, which they don't really ban it, they kind of ban it, and who gives a shit anyways? It's only one country. Bitcoin bounces back. And so this was a really cool chart I found on Twitter where someone marked in red all the times where China banned Bitcoin, the biggest times that they've banned Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't give a shit. Bitcoin's going to go to the moon. And some of these times when China bans Bitcoin, like here and here, these are big bullish indicators because it shakes out all the weak hands who were afraid about various, whether it be China or something else, and they use that as an excuse to sell Bitcoin, and then we see it rocket up. And since we're in the middle of a bull run versus on the tail, on the end of a bull run, we're right in the middle. I think we're going to see something more like this, where this shakes out the weak hands sell, and then when the price moves up, there's less and less people inclined to sell. Only the strongest hands remain. And this was a really cool chart that was put together about how these are all the big moments when China banned Bitcoin and what percentage Bitcoin is up since that moment. China banning Bitcoin is irrelevant to Bitcoin's success. Bitcoin is going to do perfectly fine without China. And so when we look at Bitcoin's performance afterwards, it has done phenomenally well. And so, yeah, I don't think we have anything to worry about with China. Bitcoin's fundamentals are super strong. And I think we're in a great setup in terms of a kind of a replication of 2013. Definitely feels like that vibe. People are getting bored. They're like, it's never going to go up again. That's the moment when you least expect it and things start to change. So I think later this year is going to get super exciting. I still think we're in the middle of a bull run.
Sure. So, I think China has been banning cryptocurrency for a number of years now. First in 2013, 2017. This is not the first time they've done so this year. For an authoritarian regime that's trying to promote their digital yuan, and keeping in mind that the China national holiday is next week, their crackdown on crypto is what I would really align with Senator Pat Toomey, a big opportunity for the United States and a reminder of our structural advantage over China. In terms of, just what we've seen historically, to what Ed mentioned, this definitely wasn't as large of a move as we've seen, prior times in market movements. We see a red candlestick down and panic initially, followed by a quick buyback and market recovery for BTC, largely buy side, led by Asia-based hedge funds, and for US institutions across a number of personas. And for ETH, we're seeing a much larger hit with a much slower buyback driven by proprietary funds. I think what we were seeing, it was, a slower last 2 months historically for us on the volume side. We saw 7 times more volume today than we had seen across, a number of weeks where we had a lot of conferences, both in traditional finance and cryptocurrency. Layer ones are definitely top of mind. I know you have spoken, about layer ones historically in the past, Ethereum, but also things like Avalanche, Solana, Atom, as well as Luna, in addition to Bitcoin, and then some tokens outside of that, primarily looking at renewed interest in some of the play to earn tokens like a YGG or an Axie Infinity.
Well, Jim is right. There is no way that you can look at this in the short term, Scott, and say that this is bullish. Of course it's bearish, which is why then we immediately slammed down to 40,000. On the other hand, China's been doing this since 2013. They have been pushing back against crypto in a big way. Obviously, we talked about the miners and basically shutting down mining operations, and then banks not being able to do business with crypto exchanges and so forth. But as Michael Saylor said, and I retweeted him when he said it, nothing has created more wealth in the past decade than the technologies that they're banning in China. That's a fact. Then you take Jordan Freed, a friend of mine who was over there with Hedera, and this guy owns NFT.com and a whole bunch of other crypto-related sites. And he was saying China is basically handing the United States and every other country a gift on a silver platter. Because if China is not involved here with the rest of the world embracing this, then they're going to be left behind, Scott. So it's not just a question of, will they participate? It's a question of they won't be involved in the technologies. Maybe they'll try to do a digital renminbi, which no one will trust, of course, because these Bitcoin in particular, Scott, gathers its value by its scarcity. If you can just print more of something, That's why people jumped over to crypto and Bitcoin in particular, rather than embracing things like the US dollar. So short term, yes, volatility. The volatility is back to a little over 4%, which means 64% in terms of the VIX that you and I talk about, Scott. That's pretty high. But our sentiment indicators, because we do that over at Market Rebellion, we track sentiment. And the sentiment indicators are that outside of China, most people are viewing this as an opportunity, not as, oh, run around and just sell everything. So we tested back down to 40. We bounced. I'd say overall that's good, Scott.
I don't think it's really much of an extension. What they're trying to do is clean up the leakages, I think, ahead of the launch of the digital yuan. And so it's more about that and more about illegal capital flight and just cleaning up their own financial system than it is. I mean, as far as we can see, it's not an outright ban for owning crypto. Really what they're trying to do is get people stop people moving money outside of the Chinese system. And I understand why that is as well. So it sounds like big news. I don't think it is big news. I don't think it's like China bans everybody ever using crypto ever, and they're all going to go to the gulags if they do. I don't think that's the case. They've also obviously got rid of mining, as we're aware of, and there's probably still, because within one of the statements was another reference to mining, so there's probably still mining activity going on. You know, it's a big country, and so they do want to stop the mining because I believe that the stopping of the mining is about both for the green energy part, but really it's about the competition for electrical resources, because there is a scarce supply of some commodities right now, and the last thing they want is to raise electricity prices on the general population.
We hope that you have enjoyed this insightful video report. Please give it a like and do share it with your friends. To explore further on profitable Bitcoin analysis, please check out our live Bitcoin seminars and webinar events. The link access to the event platforms are listed in the description of this video below.